God damn! I love that song. Welcome back to another chapter of Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks Part 2. Last time, Liu Kang and Katana were the first heroes to infiltrate Khan's fortress. And just like the reboot, Sindel actually used her sonic waves to disable the heroes on advancing towards it. Just like in the reboot, except, unlike the reboot, Aiko actually used her cardiokinesis to disable her screams, and so Katana was able to see her, and so she, chased after her, with Liu Kang at the rear. And for that, there was this fierce melee with the mortal's animalities, including the Ankylosaurus, the cheetah, the polar bear, the dragon, the rabbit, that sort of thing, the wolf, etc. And it wasn't long before the animalities turned back into their human counterparts. And so Liu Kang and Katana, along with Kung Lao and Nightwolf, infiltrated Khan's fortress. And Aiko was taken by Asgarth to Raiden's Sky Temple. 'Cause come on, she can't fight an army that size. And time is running out. The Jinsei Chamber is actually dying, along with the realm itself. And Liu Kang and Katana actually met Sindel at the temple, and Liu Kang was able to come to Katana's aid by combusting her hair and finishing her off and resuscitating Katana. Meanwhile, Kung Lao and Nightwolf spotted Smoke, but Kung Lao was unable to save him because Nightwolf theorized there's a defense mechanism as long as Khan lives, that there's power emanating throughout the fortress. So, let's get this started, shall we? Alright, Sacrifice, Continuation 10. And this is one of the most deep, intense chapters I have ever made. You'll see. Kung Lao and Nightwolf progressed further into Shao Kahn's tower. While the Makoto was just as sensitive as the immense dark energy surrounding the place as Aiko's own triggers involving her fragile heart and mind, he was just as resistant. It was like a magnet attraction onto the Indian, and he led his partner to a distant opaque chamber. It turned out to be the heart of the tower, the colossal, terrifying, beastly mouth with its epicenter of neon green, an unfortunate soul swirling inside. Its sneering eyes illuminated the same eerie shade. Actually, to Nightwolf it looked more like a menacing tree, as other shorter and more twisted ones surrounded the horrifying display. They almost looked to be like those scary treants and mammons. There it is! The imprisonment of all those innocent souls Khan has taken. I bet that's where Johnny Cage and the spirit of our ancestor lie. If we can just destroy this atrocity, then the world's souls will be freed. But it won't be easy. I wouldn't get so cocky. So how should we do it? They couldn't imagine whose souls were trapped inside that tree, nor what it could do. The former figured the chamber can be just as tumultuous as the living forest. He and Liu Kang encountered an outworld, let alone the soul tombs. Suddenly the center of the opaque and high ceiling collapsed near the heroes. Large debris and dust rained down. By the time the clouds cleared and the combatants' eyes were swiped clean, they beheld the sight of an 8-foot-tall female Shokan with all of that. The shockwave nearly knocked the heroes off their feet. It was none other than Sindel's loyal bodyguard. She hissed and flexed her arms at the intruders. That's Sheeva! She's the mistress of the Shokan clan who is loyal to the Conqueror. Why would she be working for him again? He recognized her when each of his friends fought her in a kind off numerous times while he watched from base, even during the insurrection. I've dealt with her vile kind before, twice. Kung Lao remembered fighting Goro in the wastelands and both monks dealing with Kintaro. You won't be so lucky this time, mortals. I am far more nimbler than those weak slimy vermin, and more deadlier than the pathetic Tigerian. The heroes just put their dukes up. Now, who would be daring enough to defeat me? Go! You advance further up the tower. I'll deal with Sheeva and destroy the soul chamber. You could use some help. I'll be fine. I'm very much like a soul manipulator. I know how they work. Trust me. Good luck, Nightwolf. You would just be another fresh new addition to this fine collection of souls, and imprisoned eternally to the soul chamber. I won't be so sure about that. Nightwolf took on the battle. The beastly tune was ready to do battle. The shaman knew he must keep his distance, otherwise he'd be mincemeat once he got too close to her arms. If he knew the Shokan, it'd be their only defense. But he kind of underestimated her. Sheeva had sneaky tricks up her 4 sleeves. She fired some projectiles. Her most fatal onslaught was, of course, the Shokan jump. That kind of terrified me when I was a kid. The Shokan jump also left an impact so great that they immobilized the shaman just enough to leave him vulnerable for another attack. Nightwolf kept on closing in for the kill as he countered and moved with his melee attacks, consisting punches, kicks, and his soul-empowered weapons. He was unfortunate enough to be caught in her arms, punched multiple times. He was the hapless victim, and she discarded him like a toy. The resilient shaman didn't give up, not even when the Shokan leaps were utilized multiple times. All they did was knock the wind out of him, and Kung Lao peeked over thinking he could use some assistance. He hesitated, uncertain on his next move. While trying to keep his distance, Sheeva unleashed a few more projectiles. Nightwolf was prepared and deflecting them. Even his spiritual bow and arrow proved to leave a slight mark on the Shokan. Though her punches were still as potent, even her lunges. Remembering Kung Lao's strategy, he put his distant abilities to good use, though Sheeva was just as reckless. But as long as he used the soul's energies, his weapons eventually gave him the full advantage, even revitalizing himself. It wasn't long till Nightwolf's battle turned in his favor. Hell, Lao could have sworn Cage's soul was in him, as he utilized his shadow kicks similar to his. That's a nice little detail, right? Aiming for the bare chest, Nightwolf won. The shaman then conjured lightning inside his axe similar to Raiden's and ignited as bright as the sun. He aimed for Sheeva, closing in for the kill. This is the end for you, Sheeva! Nightwolf, wait! Sindel leapt into the fray, inches away from her bodyguard. I'm warning you, Sindel! I will electrocute you both! Nightwolf, stop! Liu Kang and Katana also jumped into the arena from the distant shadows. They demanded him for a parley. Sheeva is Sindel's own bodyguard. She can actually help us. Sheeva. Sheeva, you served my mother and protected her with utmost loyalty for many years, before she decided to take her own life. She'll still need you now, more than ever as the upcoming queen, restoring her place in Edenia. I must guard over Outworld's queen, under the condition of the Emperor preserving my race. I was reluctant as he employed the accursed Motaro to join his ranks, and when he became his more prominent general. I despised him when he did so, but it was only to spare my own clan. Shao Kahn doesn't care about you or your clan. He's just using them to fulfill his own dirty work. He has no respect, and he cares nothing for you. Sheeva, you must remember when you served my fallen father. You faced off with the centaurs and Tarkans during the insurrection, on the 500th anniversary of my father's death. This saddened both Katana and Sindel a little. You declared resistance over Shao Kahn and was willing for me to take the throne, even though the rotten snake Shang Tsung joined. That irritated Liu Kang a little. My daughter is right. I was blinded from the truth after Khan killed my benevolent husband Gerard, who will always be the true ruler of Edenia. We can still overthrow the Dark Emperor, who forced me to marry and work with him. I wouldn't stand by him any longer, and I want you to serve at my side again. It's your own good, especially since Khan anointed Motaro and the centaurs to work over you, since the Shao Kahn seemed inferior to him. Reminiscing Khan's hatred for the Shao Kahn and rather preferred the centaurs more, Liu Kang spoke. He, Katana, and Asgarth were the leaders of the rebellion, and the Shao Kahn blatantly refused to serve Khan since he considered them insolent. Outnumbered and wounded, she actually backed down. Very well. I'll serve by your side once more, Queen Sindel. I'll anoint you as my promising protector, Sheeva, accepting the peace offer. Together, with the champion's help, we will rule over Edenia again. Alright, let's destroy that accursed soul chamber. Yeah! Nightwolf and Liu Kang agreed and got straight to work. Watching the resolved quarrel, Kung Lao nodded with a thumb up. Good going. Now's my chance. Turned and ran towards the opaque hallway while Liu Kang burnt the surrounding trees along with Katana's fans. Nightwolf, Sindel, and Sheeva commenced on draining the souls. At the top of the darkened stairwell with little to no torchlight, Kung Lao made his way up to Shao Kahn's tower to the next level, the balcony. It was a large opaque hallway with candles and pre-rendering graphics, which I think is pretty cool. You'll see in the dark aesthetics of Mortal Kombat 3, Ant-Man or something. Following the roars, Kung Lao hesitated as he tried to focus on something. He hardly heard the footsteps creeping in on him, but his peripheral vision was just enough to prepare him for the threat behind him. He leapt out just in time of his lethal punch downward and beheld one of the humongous centaurs. Impressive, feeble mortal! Hold on! You're one of Shao Kahn's generals, leading his extermination squads! Indeed, foolish boy! I'm Motaro, the domineering head of the centaurs, and the promising elitist of the Emperor's armies. That struck a chord. Motaro! Oh, you're the one who killed Johnny Cage! Sonya Jax saw you murder him! And you shall meet the same unfortunate fate as that incompetent, flawed human. I'll prevent you from meeting Shao Kahn and meddle with his plans on merging Outworld. You don't have much time left. Our victory is absolute. Johnny, I will avenge you. Kung Lao lunged in. His body was nearly as tall as Motaro's lower stomach. He kept his distance. He'd be too risky to close in on the massive centaur, who happened to be broader and slightly taller than his brethren. Actually, his strength was way more powerful than his kind, maybe 3 times as deadly. He was unfortunate enough to be at the mercy of the demon's strength on account how narrow the balcony was, as if the lobby at the rear had more room. Lao was nearly immobilized after receiving a grab at one of Motaro's muscular arms, while punching him across the arena with the other. Needless to say, the floor itself was just as painful. Motaro teleported behind and just barely made his mark. Kung Lao was quick enough to avoid the attack and challenge through gasps. You're not the only one who's capable on teleporting, Motaro! He even had his footing with his teleport kick, remembered his past strategy. Each airborne kick landed on Motaro's spine. The beast was just as swift as the blow didn't stun him. His hind legs and appendage tail reacted, even catching the monk off guard as he fired stunning lasers from the tip. Lao was able to deflect it using a spin kick, though Motaro's close range combined with the small arena was too much, as if his horse-like body took up a third of it. Which is actually true in the game. He literally had no room for error. Lao had to make every mark count, without missing nor leaving himself vulnerable, despite the Shaolin used his hat trying to keep as much distance as humanly possible. However, as soon as Motaro saw it coming, the razor-rimmed hat made contact with his lower torso, with little to no injury. A pulse from it actually deflected the deadly projectile, leaving a fatal deep flesh wound gushing in Lao's chest. The mortal just dropped his jaws, his hat descended. He was too injured to even scream and move. He simply hunched over, nearly touching the cold stone floor, while Motaro marched up to him, grabbed and discarded him to one of the statues, impaling his back. Lao was too weak and paralyzed, leaving himself for the last deadly blow. But Motaro halted by a shockwave by an earthquake, which also made the upper quarters of the statues collapse. Motaro was stunned for a short while and was hit by a swift kick directly to his neck. In came Jax! Lao's stomach continued to bleed a puddle as Jax reassured Raiden will take him to the Jinsei, praying it won't be too late. As if on cue, the doomed hero's battered body dissipated with a flash of lightning. The Special Forces agent hoped he wouldn't perish like his comrade Cage. With Jax's quickness, in conjunction with bionic strength-enhancing implants, as well as making shockwaves to stun the enemy, he proved to be quite a formidable opponent. He didn't have much of an issue as Lao did, aside from balcony being cluttered by the statues and Motaro. With no projectiles, Jax was at a clear advantage. Though, he still got caught by Motaro at times, but he endured the impacts. Motaro got strategic in leaping over and across his Jax's quakes. He was able to counter with his charges utilizing his horns. In fact, at one ram, Jax conjured his strength and directly hit Motaro's head, stunning him. With a few more blows, the Special Forces agent bested him. Motaro slumped with his forelegs giving away. Meanwhile, inside his majestic palace, Raiden teleported Lao to the ethereal Jinsei chamber within the sacred Sky Temple by his remaining strength. He was able to carry the former champion's weak vessel to the epicenter after descending a few steps. He laid down the fatally wounded monk and attempted to revive him. Esgarth came into the duo and Lao pleaded them to let him die, though the Thunder God urged he shouldn't talk. Thinking I could best him. He killed Johnny. Yes, I know. I can sense the soul chamber being demolished. His soul should rest, at least until Khan has fallen. As would mine. At least my curse will be reversed. I may as well be reunited with my ancestors. No! No, don't say that. Earthrealm and Liu Kang. We all need you. As does Aiko. But there's not much time. My powers in the Jinsei could do so much with Earthrealm in peril. With the merger nearly complete, I desperately hope our hero isn't too late to conquer the darkness. Back at the Soul Chamber, the quartet felt some enormous quakes from above. It's Jax! Is Kung Lao up there? The shaman suddenly sensed a drop in vitality that made him somber. What is it, Nightwolf? Don't move! Kung Lao's vitality is... Don't move! Kung Lao's vitality is fading! Fast! Oh, Kung Lao! No! Almost as soon as the monk advanced, the monstrous chamber began to crumble. Huge pieces of debris broke off, the display collapsed, but the green soul swirled and rose aloft. The team escaped from the destruction, the stairways blocked by the rubble. However, a massive hole in the ceiling, the epicenter, formed. Come on, we don't have much time! Allow me. Sheeva was able to use her powerful Shokan jump and brought up everyone. So they immediately ran to Jax. Jax! Jax! Where is he? Where's Kung Lao? The agent was speechless. All that remained was the puddle of blood next to the red-deformed statue. Kung Lao. He's been taken to Raiden's Sky Temple, tending his wounds. He doesn't have much time left. Kung Lao. No! All the monk did was beg Raiden to keep his soul from being imprisoned in the chamber by Khan, but the Thunder God assured it has been destroyed, possibly freeing the great Kung Lao. That gave Lao some comfort, thinking he may be waiting. Silence was interrupted by Aiko, who ran in and sat by Kung Lao's side. She whimpered his name, reached in and touched his cheek, which felt clammy. She implored him not to go, and for once, she confessed she loved him and wouldn't bear to lose another like she did with her mom, even though she hadn't died just yet, and it'd take another several years. As tears fell, she tried conjuring her energy and made a conduit of her heart seeping into him, but it was all for naught as his wounds were too great. Then, at least, I wouldn't be eternally damned. Raiden, keep my soul. If Liu Kang should save Earthrealm, he might. It's up to the champion now. Strength was starting to ooze out of him as he slowly closed his eyes. His face then drooped, and Aiko buried himself into him while Raiden and Asgarth looked on. Nightwolf lowered his head as he shut his eyes. He told everyone the sad news that Kung Lao's essence is gone. His only living brother bit the dust. Liu Kang sunk. Katana was right beside him. All Nightwolf did was see him weep while the Matoken took out his little tomahawk. Just then footsteps were heard. It was only the remaining combatants rushing in, rather than low stragglers of Khan's terroristic armies. They noticed the bloody mess, and the shaman informed it was the fallen Shaolin monk. Sonya whispered she was sorry. On top of that, the Thunder God's powers ran out. Their only hope to save Earth was to destroy Khan, just as the champions did several months ago. Nightwolf then ordered his allies to gather round and touch his axe, which took a quarter of their strength, even from the cyborg's smoke. He figured with all the souls... Well, actually, there's an error here. Smoke didn't actually make it until later, so forget that. Figured with all the souls within the empowered hammer, it'd be enough strength for the champions to equal the Emperor's. At least that's what he hoped. The Dark Key was just as astronomical and too immeasurable to be certain. All he did was hand over the lightened axe. Liu Kang, you're our only hope. You're the undefeated champion in Mortal Kombat representing Earth. Only you can defeat Shao Kahn. If all fails, we will be lost, much like your fallen brothers. Liu, you must believe in yourself. We all do. Only the essence of a champion can finish the corrupt emperor and the destruction of both realms. We each gave a portion of our souls onto this axe. To you. You must do this. For Earthrealm. For Edenia. For the Shaolin. With encouragement from his friends, Liu finally reached in and took the glowing tomahawk Nightwolf had. And with it, he suddenly got a jolt of adrenaline. Swirls of green energy was absorbed into his body, filling with strength of many warriors. It was as if a breeze hit him, and then calmed as he made contact. He was surprised how much energy he received. He then withdrew the axe. All he did was look at his comrades. I will defeat Shao Kahn. Earthrealm, Outworld, and Kung Lao depends on it. And there are the songs for that. Bonus points to those who actually know who the Treants and Mammons are. No cheating! And I didn't even mention it. No cheating. This was undoubtedly one of the most dreadful and hardest chapters I'd ever written. Losing Kung Lao was something I thought I'd never do, let alone have him assassinated by the same murderer that locked off Johnny. I actually skipped ahead one day and can't resist writing this, just to get it off my chest and kill two birds with one stone, that being the Turcotan battles. Besides, Motaro was terrifying and he grew on me as a favorite villain. I kinda figured it'd be a great deja vu on having Jax fight off the centaurs, like in a certain guilty pleasure of mine. At least I take Lao's death seriously and made it impactful in which I felt NetherRealm Studios fails to do. I hate how they did it on the reboot and moving forward. Damn you pricks! Always having fun killing them off on countless occasions. Should be a one and done thing, and at least the heroes have their share of great tragedy. The finale and epilogue shall soon be underway. That is, if life doesn't interfere too much. I can't wait to do this! It's finally come down to this! Until then, this is the Ekron Writer signing out, and stay tuned for the finale.